Well, Wildcard asserted their dominance and defeated Okami 2-0 in convincing fashion, but Raven, it's time for the big matchup. It's Ferox taking on LFO. Both of these teams battling it out to make the playoffs.
Stakes are huge in this second series, guys, because there is one spot left in playoffs, 4th place, and it's down to these teams to fight it out for it. A 2-0 either side will secure it outright and comfortably. Otherwise, it gets a little bit complicated.
Complicated indeed. Of course, both these teams don't want to leave anything to chance. They will both be battling super hard for the 2-0, but that is going to be one hard 2-0 to obtain. Both these teams heading into this are pretty evenly matched.
They are. They've both had an equally good season. We've seen some fantastic matches from both of these teams. Ferox have taken out some big opponents. LFO coming in through the open qualifiers, taking maps off Wildcard, Elevate, Okami. That is nothing to be discredited at all. And so here they are now fighting for a chance to do it again in playoffs.
I think that's the big storyline for me, is either of these teams could take the cake. It's time to look at the Ferox roster and see who they're bringing for tonight. It's a lineup rather that has had some inconsistent results at times, and they're really looking to bounce back of what was a pretty iffy performance against Team Sinister.
Yeah, they really didn't have a great week or match at all against Sinister. I mean, it was 5-7, 5-7 on both of those maps. Not able to close out either of them. They're going to have their final chance to make playoffs here. Some big plays from a lot of these guys. Deptra in particular, one of the newest on the roster, has been stepping up a lot, as has Sushi. And Warden as well, proving to be the ever elusive, getting a lot of frags along the way.
And of course, Todd was one of the newest members actually to join this roster, despite having a lot of experience in previous competitive Siege. He's slotted relatively nicely into this squad. I think it would be a little bit preemptive to say that maybe he's fit in perfectly, but I think for the amount of time that they really had to work with him leading into this season, he's done a pretty decent job.
Yeah, he has. It started off pretty rough for him. I remember right at the back at the start of Six Masters, it looked like he was really struggling to find exactly where he fits in, but recently he's put in some much better performances, and it's helped Ferox really get to this point.
While they are the underdogs, it's time to have a look at the LFO lineup. I know they get a lot of love in the chat. The question is, can they provide the goods here this evening? They need to take basically 2 maps to secure that playoff position. But I mean, they may well have what it takes.
They really could. They've taken down big opponents in front of them, really back at the start of the season as well. They've had the occasional off map here and there, but it's time for them to really show that they are worth playoff contention. One player to look out for, as I'm sure is going to be talked about a lot, is Mims. Boy, oh boy, did he have a huge series on Tuesday against Kanga. Just absolutely carving it up, fragging out from not fragging roles. I mean, playing Thatcher is, you could say, almost flex because he does have good weaponry, but more often support. He's definitely not a player to mess with.
Yeah, and I think someone else to really highlight on that roster is, in fact, not even a player. It's Enigma, their coach. He's the person on their team that has been presented to us in all of the interviews. And I really like the way he goes about stuff. He seems quite confident. He likes to back his boys going into these matchups. And I'm sure that this team needs as much confidence as they can muster going into tonight, because any shadow of doubt could cost them pivotal maps.
Yeah, I think that coach is rightly named Enigma because he is quite the Enigma. But yes, he is good at managing his team and hyping them up, I'm sure. And he does put a lot of good insight into those interviews. Look, LFO are going to need every little thing possible to hype them up for this. We questioned that maybe they were dealing with a lot of pressure in the Kanga series. I mean, they did actually lose to Kanga in that second map, which was, of course, Kanga's only map victory for the entire season. So they can't let pressure get to them here.
Well, both of these teams have their strong maps. Let's see what they take off the board and try and counter the other's play style. It's going to be Villa taken off the board there by Team Ferox, and then LFO will take off Cafe. For me, this is pretty interesting because this leaves other maps on the board, such as Clubhouse, which we know both these teams have played quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the Villa ban is good from Ferox. It is a strong map for LFO that we really haven't seen a lot of. I'm just looking back at their record now. Played it once against Okami, and that was the map they beat Okami on. So Ferox not really wanting to risk that, probably not a map they play a lot of. Cafe has been a solid pick for Ferox, and you know what? I'm actually kind of thinking that it's maybe more LFO just not wanting to play it because they have had some shaky performances.
Well, let's roll through the picks and see where we end up this evening for the best of two. Clubhouse will end up being selected by Team Ferox, and LFO will head us to Coastline. And Coastline for me is a very scary one because that was where Mims, as you mentioned earlier, absolutely decimated Kanga.
Yeah, and I mean, a direct comparison there. Ferox played against Kanga on Coastline, and they won at 8-7. Super, super close. They were really on the brink of losing that map, whereas we just talked about it, LFO 7-3'd Kanga in that map. So maybe just weighing that up, LFO feel like they've got the measure on Ferox going into that one.
And I mean, it's actually great that both these teams' most recent opponents are Sinister and Kanga. It actually gives us a lot to sort of work off here. Both these teams, in fact, actually played on Clubhouse against Team Sinister, and both of them lost. Ferox was a little bit closer. It was 5-7. LFO, it was actually 3-7. So, I mean, just looking at raw numbers, you'd have to back in Team Ferox. It's also their map pick. But this is shaping up, I think, to be an incredibly close series.
Yeah, and I mean, you also can't shake off the fact that LFO in week 1, they absolutely smacked Elevate on that map. It was 7-2. And by all rights, they looked strong on Clubhouse. And they weren't able to fully replicate it for the rest of the season. But it doesn't mean that they can't redo it again here against Ferox.
Well, it's time to see what you folks at home think. Who is the favorite heading into tonight? As we look at the poll, it's going to end up being Team Ferox. And also some really strong support there for the draw, which I think I might have picked as well. So again, a draw may not be enough for LFO to make the playoffs. It goes down to raw numbers in the end. The most beneficial scenario for LFO is to win both maps. So for those of you that back them, well, you're going to have to hope they actually get the 2 maps.
Yeah, again, we talked about it. It's basically 2-0 for either team outright. Just straight up secures in that spot. Going a 1-1 leaves it open for chance and a whole lot of maths that we're not going to get into too deeply right now. But regardless, again, LFO going to be fighting for that 2-0. And given the veto, I really do think it is possible for LFO to get that.
The time has come. Team Ferox taking on LFO. It's the battle for the playoffs. Hold on to your seats. This one's going to be an absolute barn burner.
Hard one to predict as well. Really could go either way. They're both neck and neck on standings, which is why they are here, basically. So being able to pull out some really strong performances in the regular season. Clubhouse Thatcher ban coming out is going to make it harder to deal with walls, deal with hatches, and the Hibana ban means that Maverick is going to be seeing a pretty high pick rate, I would say.
That will likely be the case, and that's 3 out of 3 maps tonight. We're going to see Thatcher banned. It'll come down to which attacking side can be more proficient in taking out some of that utility. Mirror will follow up suit. Again, trying to deny some of the intel that can be gathered by these defenders. That will be followed up, of course, by the final ban. LFO will take Echo off the board.
So intel denial is the name of those defense bans, and a frustration clearance. Not wanting to deal with clearing out a mirror or an echo can be quite the pain on Clubhouse. So just get it out of here. Don't worry about it. It's going to be LFO starting on defense as well. Going to be starting on gym bedroom, which isn't quite the common starting place on this map.
Quite peculiar. I mean, we did talk to Enigma. I'm pretty sure it was Enigma, right? He mentioned that they brought out a strategy on this side and it worked, if I'm remembering correctly. I hope I'm remembering correctly for their sake. And they'll be hoping that Ferox hasn't read into it, because it wasn't that long ago that they actually did play this map. This is, of course, their second outing this week.
Locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Due to the reschedule. And I'll have to be mindful of that Ferox hasn't read too much into what could be a readable defensive setup.
Bims on the Ella could be quite a deadly pick. We saw it work out earlier for Ethan playing that Ella. Actually popped off on that round that he was on the operator, so we'll see whether it works out for Mims in this instance. And those Grismont mines can be not just an annoyance for the attack, but a really good source of intel on the defense. Essentially is what they are playing it for. They'll also be getting extra intel with this Valkyrie.
are
Zogs
heading
has
out to
2
defuse
cameras in the
bomb.
pocket. He
Cameras
may
in
throw
left
both out.
area of
Sometimes
operation.
the defenders will
Attackers
throw
dropped the
2
bomb.
out.
Attackers
And once the
have
attackers
recovered
clear
their
1, they may believe it's clear. On this occasion, Zogs only throws the single camera outside that window and will pocket another. Place that inside of Con. I'm liking this setup from Mims though, over towards the main stairs on Ella. That's quite the intriguing setup. I don't think I've really seen a shield used there too often.
Now we'll allow him to be able to control that nice and early. No wall denial means that Sushi is just going to open this straight up with his exothermic charge. Able to drone straight
Attackers have
through as
located a
well, so
bomb.
not wasting too much time here. A Ferox. Jammer at the top of the stairs means that maybe Mims' position will take a little bit longer to be revealed. Regardless, that shield will be
Attackers bomb
spottable
diffuser has
instantly.
been dropped.
Ferox also looking like they are going to prioritize taking over towards the jacuzzi balcony, which I would say is probably Warden's first task to get that nice and open, which puts a lot of pressure onto the defense at that stage.
Sushi, of course, playing on the Thermite. You mentioned him pre-game as one of the stronger players on this team, and he was pretty devastated in the last interview when they struggled to get a map win against Team Sinister. Looking for a turn of fortune here, trying to, again, get themselves into the playoffs. Currently outside the 4, but they have a great opportunity to make it here in the final play days. Nasty gets the first pick. Warden will get one back, though. It's a great grenade from him.
And again, that was Warden that opened up that jacuzzi wall nice and early with that Maverick trick. Todd there to sledge it open. Means they've got some really solid control now.
Attackers recovered the bomb
Very close to
diffuser.
sight. Bathroom position pretty critical. Has been retaken by Angmo. But there is no shortage of frag grenades on that side to be able to manage that.
Angmo gets naded as well. Will he be taken out? No, but he will be taken down with the second. So it is a 3-on-3 with under a minute to go. The push now begin from Ferox. The castle barricade on the gym door is taken down. Angles towards bathroom created as well. Hills could pose a problem though from Secret, as Todd does find Mims, so that is him off the board. Nasty's low on HP, but is in a very peculiar position below and could find a pick on the vaulting. Hills just needs to stay alive, but he gets taken down. Todd, with a great start to this map, has found 3 so far, and Nasty needs to hold out for 30 seconds. He has the C4, but from the main stairs, he is taken down. Todd with a 4K, and it's a great start here for Team Ferox.
Was a good start, just beautifully efficient. They didn't take any time at all opening CCTV with that Thermite, and then they didn't take any time at all opening it with the Maverick Sledge combo. Cleared out bathroom multiple times, and then it was just done at that stage. LFO were never really able to properly retake the site. So well played by them, Todd having a big one, and it means that LFO aren't going to replay it, deciding just to go down to Church Arsenal.
A little bit of a concerning start here for LFO, going to an off-meta side and losing it. They're a team that, during a few points in the season, have
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
seemingly crumbled
attackers.
under pressure, and they don't want that pressure mounting too early here. And there already is pressure. The stakes are as high as they ever have been. That goes for both teams. And the one that can get that early lead should be able to alleviate that at least a little bit. It's important that LFO don't let too many rounds slide.
On their defenses, they'll want to be staying in touch. See how they go with this Church Arsenal. Combo there with the
Left before
and
insertion.
Mozzie means that they will be able to deny a lot of intel gathering from Ferox.
5 seconds left.
Slow it down a bit. It looks like Nasty is going to be staying up on the top floor here for quite the roam.
Locate
Sogs
and defuse
assisting
the bomb.
in that Mutant Mozzie combo. Normally you would see a castle paired to complete the roam strategy that you see here. Not bringing the castle this time means that the rotate back just could be a little bit more sketchy.
Hills again playing quite aggressively off site towards top blue. Sogs and Nasty teaming up at the main stairs as well. LFO not afraid to get in the face of Ferox, and it's a playstyle that has been hit or miss for them so far in this season, but when it works, boy does it work. Hills is in a very unorthodox position inside of stock. Ferox will need to be mindful that he is sitting there.
Ferox quite efficiently droning out close to this bar. I mean, Steptra is on the hunt for Sogs and Nasty, but they've both actually gone back to site. So Ferox just being very careful here. But like you said, Hills potentially not spotted out so far in stock, and if they aren't careful, it would mean bad things. Nobody really in a danger position just yet. Clear of top floor has only just occurred. Warden and Todd are the ones doing that job. That means that they can now start working on hatches.
Hills probing inside of stock. How many can he find? He whiffs on the first, but will eventually secure that kill. Can he find a second towards bar? No. Sushi will win that engagement. Not much HP. He needs to be mindful of any C4s below. He'll be taken out quite easily. But he does have the potential to open more of these hard breach walls or hatches. Church wall could well be one of those if Ferox want to go for that style execute.
Very important that Sushi is actually low HP, so it won't take too much from the contest below to take him out. Warden is going to be able to open up the moto hatch though. They will have pretty quick access to Church. They've got under a minute to play. Sushi looks like he's going to be opening Church wall, so really indicating here, Church looks like their execute position.
Bomb diffuser has been
But
dropped.
Sushi has been downed at least. It was low, a singular shot. Pretty sketchy spot to try and pick him up from, but they're going to attempt it. Oh no, he's whiffing the shots, but Mims does get shade. 30 seconds now, guys.
Critically, Sushi was actually picked up and will now be able to open the wall. Ferox don't have the man advantage. A couple of their players critically low on HP as well. Nasty can surely spray them down. You might be able to see that diffuser in front of him as well, and he gets the first. That's Sushi. How many more can he find? That's two. He can't find the third as Sogs will clean it up and LFO will get one back.
A bit worried for them when the Kaid whiffed on the collection there, the revive. But not to be. Nasty playing beautifully around that wall. Give Ferox the look in. 1-1. Looks like we're in for a good contest so far, Guz. Means LFO on the trot will rotate through their sites up to CCTV cache this time.
Three unique sites in a row here, attempted by LFO. A stark contrast to some other teams, namely Okami, who earlier in the night attempted the same site 3 times. And I mean, without looking at round history, I think it would be a safe bet to say that LFO are a team that aren't afraid to keep mixing up their site choices on the defense. And I like that. I think it's a sign of a confident team, a positive team on this defense, ready to try and continually throw off Ferox and try not to get them in too much, or try not to let them get too much of a rhythm on the attack.
Agree with that sentiment, and I mean, this was Ferox's map pick, but we've said it. It's generally actually quite a good map also for LFO. I think even though Ferox might be coming with some confidence, it's definitely not going to be a pushover. I think if you ever give LFO a sniff of this momentum, they've shown time and time again that they can run away with that.
Sushi again on Thermite, diffuser in hand. He's outside of garage, expecting to get some work done quite soon to try and cut down the garage and rotate. Sogs, meanwhile, could find himself in an engagement with Shade, who, using that gap in the barricade, has Ash charged somewhere towards that. Not particularly sure. Sogs unable to really contest that as Warden is now Maverick tricking the wall. So a lot being done here by Ferox, trying to prepare themselves for the execute.
Warden is having a tough time finishing off this wall. Can't quite see exactly where it's still connected. Getting zapped in the moment of it as well. He's actually lost about 35, 40 HP just trying to get this open. This could be really critical here if they aren't able to finish it off. If she's just going to end up thermiting it in the end, and a bit of a waste of blowtorch and time.
Critically though, it is opened up. Ferox with just over half the round now to convert an attack. Scans will head out and try and gather intel. Now in towards CCTV. It is clear. There is a player on rafters. There is players inside of Cash, which will make this difficult.
Definitely hard pushing Garage now. Todd and Shay down, teaming below. Trying to figure out what to do with rafters. Todd probably looking to get a frag grenade, but Hills here in Oil Pit. This could really be detrimental to Ferox if they don't check or haven't droned. Todd does get the nade onto Mims. That's important there. Oil Pit checked by Sushi, and he does down and take out Hills. That's beautifully played. Ferox with a solid man advantage now in this final minute.
Great game sense there from Sush to net the kill. LFO left in a 3-on-5. Sox is going to try and retake this position. Keep in mind, going up that ladder will be incredibly risky, and you'll have to go late by that stage. It might not be enough. Player outside the breach is nasty. Will gas the top of rafters, being stunned once again. Sogs has actually made his way up here. This could be massive. He taps one. How many more can he find? There's a player to his left. He finds that one as well. Diffuser has gone down in the meantime. That player has been downed as well. LFO could bring this round back, but Sogs is shut down by a Shade. And now Angmo is left on a 2-on-1. He secures the first. But this is going to be an incredibly difficult retake, Raven.
Yes, very tough positions to deal with. They have a direct crossfire basically here. Gonna have to try and peek out, but the holes will have assist that player on repel. That is Deptra. Ferox answer back with another round. They go up 2-1.
Great setup there by Ferox, and the post plant nets them that round win. Sogs through Oil Pit almost tore it to shreds, but it wasn't quite enough. It's been a solid start for Ferox so far. Of course, keep in mind that Maverick has been left on the board, which theoretically won't lean this map too heavily defender-sided. So I can definitely envision a scenario here where the half is incredibly close. And it hasn't felt like any of these rounds have been particularly convincing one way or the other.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
There's still a long way to go, I suspect.
I agree. It really doesn't feel like either of these teams are out in front at this stage. I mean, the scoreline says Ferox is, but right now both teams feel quite even. I think that's really true to the series we've got here. The fact that they are fighting the 4th spot in playoffs.
Of course, heading into tonight, LFO and Ferox evenly matched at the bottom of the table, just above Kanga, 15 points apiece. A win in this series, so 2 maps in a row for either one will be enough to secure them in the playoffs. If it ends in a draw, then it will end in some complex math, and we'll have to wait for the result. I like that verticality inside of Bathroom. I think so many players don't actually even know that that floor is breakable, so it is good to see it be utilized, because I very rarely, never see it in ranked, and very rarely see it played in comp.
Calling it a rarity. And look, I tell you what should be a rarity is the fact that Mims is like 30 HP in prep phase. Must have ran in front of a smoke shotgun. Saw him running around during the setup low HP and had no idea what happened to him, but usually is one of those SAS operators. That's the culprit. Again, Ferox really efficient here. Going to be able to open up CCTV and put some pressure straight in towards Cash. I'm sure Warden is probably also working on Jacuzzi, which is the case there. Sogs is trying to deter that from happening fast.
Bomb located by attackers.
But it's still quite efficient here in this first minute.
Frag grenades again being utilized here by Warden. Talking about grenades, the gas grenade from Sogs will delay that Maverick trick. It's a strategy that we have seen a lot of smoke mains utilized recently. Place it on the wall, it will go through and delay that push. Very nasty angle there from Sogs trying to find a pick. Also trying to find a pick on the main window. Doesn't find either though. In the meantime, the wall has been made soft and Ferox could head this attack. Oh, Sogs narrowly missed his Todd. This wasn't meant to be.
Oh, and now Maybe him alive isn't meant to be, because that's going to get Ash charged. And also, Frag Grenade was looking like it's getting cooked by the Maverick onto the side. Might not be wise for Sogs to be sticking around here for much longer. Not sure. No nades coming through. They're going to be burning those ADSs. Aggress is out in the end. I mean, he was probably going to die to a Frag Grenade if he sit in that corner. Either way,
that's Hills. That's Hills with the
finally.
run out. That was all the way from Strip. I saw him run across there earlier in the round, and it looks like it has paid off. He makes his way back towards side. He doesn't get cut off. That's a great play from Hills. Really gives his team a fighting chance for the rest of the round.
Yeah, it does. It was really against the grain frag there. Deptra gets another of those. A solid man advantage now, guys, in the final 30 seconds. All up to Angmo and Hills, both full HP. Oh, he downs Warden on the entry. 20 seconds to go. See how it ends up.
Oh, Hills gets aggressive, and we'll find one. Misses the second narrowly, and now Angmo needs to clutch up. There's not a lot of time here for Ferox. Two of their players one-shot. This is well and truly winnable. But the cross, it's being held. The diffuser being stuck. Surely this is unwinnable. And there we go. Sushi goes massive at the end there. Ferox will take the round.
Really could have been changed by Hills. If he managed to get that double on the entry of the breach, really could have been an entirely different situation, but not to be. This is the first time that we are seeing one of these teams win a consecutive round, 2 in a row for Ferox. Second time that LFO are unsuccessful in Gym Bedroom.
And again, a lot of these attacks really being centered around that Maverick. Been incredibly efficiently utilized by Ferox so far. Jacuzzi wall early round was open, exposing the defense of LFO, who despite putting up a really good fight, narrowly will lose that round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
It's up to them now to try and stay in touch. Another round here for Ferox could really start to apply some pressure on LFO.
It looks like it's a repeat of the lineup as well from LFO on this bomb site, and bringing that mute and Mozzie combo, Nasty and Sogs. But while going the castle on the rotate down, they didn't really hard hold it last time. So
10 seconds left.
yes, identifying that the rotate down late in the round or mid round is way too sketchy for them to plplay. We'll see where Hills plays out of this time, because playing in stock, he did net himself 1 kill before rotating. Not gonna be able to get away with that again, that's for sure.
Initiating jammer. You can stop worrying about grenades now.
LFO may be able to afford a draw, but as Ferox take more and more rounds, that really starts to slip away. They need to be bringing this one back as quickly as possible. Talking about being quick, Warden already working this jacuzzi wall. A peek to the left and a vault entry to the right. He's not actually drawing. He's using that torch quite efficiently, and there we go. Ferox already entering.
A nice swift entry vertically. Sogs is persisting there. Going down cash stairs now though. Angmo playing in storage to support. And Hills is playing around stock lounge again. Trying to mess with Ferox a little bit on this clear. Hills actually playing bottom floor at the moment into oil pit. Might be looking for a mid-round flank or late-round flank. And Ferox just not sparing any ounce of thoroughness here. He's running out the entirety of the top floor and taking almost half the round to do so.
Todd heading the entry here inside of CCTV, going 6 and 2 so far. Been a solid map for him thus far, as he tries to hunt down Sogs. And talking about Sogs, he has been lit up. Hills to try and cover him inside of garage as he falls down oil pit. Hills now left to retake. The question is, has Ferox thrown this out? Are they aware of this position? Todd does find the first pick though. Again, mounting the pressure on LFO.
Really could be detrimental there if they haven't realized that Hills is in catwalk. He's going to pounce onto Deptra, who was low HP anyway. Drone comes out and finally does spot Hills. They're not going to know whether he's gone up or down. He's going to persist in garage guards, not rotating back to site right now. Not sure if anybody from Ferox is willing to deal with it all. They're actually just going to go straight to site, guys. It's a rush straight into Arsenal. 3 versus 3, and they are on site.
Sushi going for the plant. Shade and Warden to cover blue, and Shade gets the first. How many more can he find? Will that diffuser go down? It does. Sogs has actually been downed as well, so Hills from Oil Pit is left in a 3-on-1, and he gets flashed. More utility is being sent out. Ferox, I don't think, know exactly where he is positioned. Hills will try and pounce on Shade playing the AK. Or he misses the shot initially and will be taken down by Shade, and Ferox with the rush will take round number 5.
It was a really great read. They just saw that there was so many of these LFO players trying to make something happen off site, and they just thought, you know what, let's not mess around, let's just go. And they took those gunfights inside. It was only 2 at that stage. Got them on there beautifully, and the plant went down. I really like that from Ferox, showing some great teamwork and good adaptation and analysis. And right now, in the last round of the half, I could be looking at a 5-1 half, which would be a fantastic way to start Clubhouse.
Again, LFO potentially falling into the trap of overextending their playstyle, over-aggressing a little bit. Yes, Hills did find a pick, but he didn't have any impact late round. And nor really did Sogs either, who was lit up early on the roam. Might be a case of LFO needing to just tame this back a little bit. I guess the question is, have they identified that as a potential issue, or will they try and persist with their trademark aggression?
To bring it back, we talked about the pressure of this match. Neither of these teams really would have experienced the kind of pressure on them right now. It really is do or die. Get both map wins, and you get playoffs. But Ferox are the ones that are probably better equipped to deal with that. There is a lot of experienced players on Ferox that have been in similar pressure positions before. LFO, this is their first season of something of competitive at this level. And also now they are facing a chance of playoffs. That's a different kind of pressure to any other regular season match. That might be what's causing them to struggle just that little bit.
Hills does have some experience in this position, of course, playing for Acme, participating in the last 6 Masters LAN tournament. Had some decent success. A little bit of a different lineup to what we see today, but I'm sure that experience will be transferable, and he'll be a cool mind heading into this one. He knows what it takes in these high pressure scenarios. He really needs to try and feed that to the rest of his teammates, and they can bounce off it. Ferox so far, though, have definitely been in control.
And pretty efficient getting in for Ferox, and they're being quite thorough not to be caught out by LFO early phase. I think LFO would have learnt their lesson from the last round. Banking too much offsite. Ferox are, you know, they're a little bit too smart for that. They read into that bait, and they just avoided it completely. Complete change of tack here from LFO all on site. Does mean, though, that Ferox have taken some ground, but I mean, they've taken quite a bit of time to do so. A bit over half the round now.
And we're getting aggressive over towards stairs. Will deny a drone. Again, trying to shut down any info for Ferox to work with. Not sure whose C4 that is placed above that. That could net a kill kitchen. Oh, that was close. It actually does net it down. Todd is taken down by Agmo. Good communication there from LFO to secure that kill, and that's a great early pick.
Yeah, so no more vertical play from that sledge either. Sushi going to be the risky play of the exothermic charge going down, getting electrified, so not going to be the play there at all. Going to get out of that. Electric coming on at the right time. Warden finds a pick to make it a 4 versus 4. That was in dirt, so something they're going to have to worry about. Sushi will finally get the kitchen hatch open. 30 seconds to go, guys.
The lifeline impacts didn't hit the mark, so he places it on the ground and it will open that reinforced hatch. So well played there by Sushi. Shade sends out some smoke grenades. Candela as well, looking to drop the hatch, and he does. Mims dropped off screen as well, leaving it in a 4-on-3. That player in dirt is finished off. A couple more frags come out. There's a player blue though, that's Hills. He goes massive, and now Sogs will get one as well. Warden left in a 1-on-3. The tables have turned here for LFO as they take the final map, or the final round of the half. And I mean, I think on the balance of bans, this hasn't been the worst half here for LFO.
Not terrible, but probably not great. I think they probably would have been backing themselves to have secured more defenses than that. I think a big tactical error was made in round number 5 when they were caught off guard by that mid-round rush from Ferox. But not to be, it is a 2-4 half for them. Ferox now on defense. Todd on the cap can, maybe 6th pick. Yeah, unfortunate. I was excited to see some cap can.
I mean, APAC definitely not strangers to Capcan on occasion, but not really a typical pick. I don't know, I'm still leaning towards this one being quite close. We do have Maverick on the board, of course, and that did seem to enable a lot of these attacks. Really, for Ferox, I mean, that early round aggression that they did bring, I feel, or control, was really off the back of some of that efficient use of the blowtorch. And I mean, in traditional ANZ style, a lot of these maps have been attacker-sided, so it's definitely too early to rule LFO out. But as you said, I agree, it probably wasn't the half that they would have liked.
No, but that being said, I mean, they put in some really good attacks in their win against Elevate. One that sticks out was Mims getting a clutch in the rounds that actually won it. I think it was a 1 versus 3. I can't fully remember it, but either way, it was a pretty nutty clutch. So they can bring it out on attack. It's definitely a possibility. It's more so, what are Ferox going to be doing with these defenses? They chose this map. You would think that they've got something up their sleeve and how they're going to manage LFO.
Yeah, and I mean, so far already we've seen a change up in this second half, right? Because in the first, LFO took us to bedroom and gym, which is not a typical pick. Ferox, on the other hand, going with the more traditional basement objective. And I think on the balance of the bans, basement is probably going to be the strongest side, depending on, of course, strategies and setups, because you don't really have to deal as much with the Maverick. Yes, Maverick can get the hatches, but there aren't too many key walls that can be opened outside of maybe dirt, but then that can also be shut down. So yeah, Ferox going a little bit more traditional so far, and maybe that can pay dividends.
Yeah, it could do. And LFO, I think they just outplayed themselves a little bit in their half. They tried to think too much, and they tried to change things a lot. They tried to make a lot happening with their Church Arsenal roams, and it didn't really work out for them. I mean, look at the round that they turtled in the end. That's the one they won. I think they maybe just need to think a little bit more simple and try and execute things a little more simply, because Ferox are ready for them to try and do those risky plays, try and do those flanks. Ferox are covering that beautifully. I mean, you saw Sushi as well. He pre-aimed Oil Pit on that push towards CCTV cache. They're not able to get some of those cheeky plays happening.
And that's really the argument that we've made against LFO and some of these losses against the likes of Kanga and Sinister. It has felt on occasion that maybe they're outplaying themselves and maybe trying to be a little bit too fancy. But then when they simplify it and wind things back, they're actually seeing a little bit more success. And of course, that's not to have a dig at them or anything like that. I love when teams, you know, try and innovate, bring new strategies to the table, but it gets to a point where sometimes you can be a little bit too fancy. And if a team can exploit that, which, I mean, again, Kanga managed to, Sinister have, and Ferox even arguably so far have as well, that is going to result in map losses.
Yeah, it's always good to try risks. You have to try risks at some stage, because if you play conservative always, that's also predictable. So then the attack or the other team in general can start figuring out counters for that. It's all about not maintaining a regular pattern, but still playing within your strength. And I think LFO can, on occasions, pull off some of those flanks or the weird roams or whatever you want to call it. But I think they tried to do it too much in that first half, and that was the predictable factor for Ferox. They clearly had their read on it for a majority of those rounds.
And I think a team that sort of demonstrates that playstyle really well is probably Wildcard. We saw them earlier tonight. They were able to bring, yes, aggression to the board, but it felt like on every occasion it was measured and justified. It wasn't just brainlessly running around doing anything crazy. They were putting the setups in place and thinking deeply about how they were actually going to approach and defend the sites. Whereas sometimes from some of these other teams, it doesn't quite feel like they have that same sort of depth. And I mean, that's not to have a go at them, right? Wildcard are one of the strongest teams for a reason. They have that experience and that synergy, which LFO, for example, probably don't have. It's important to remember that they made it in through the open qualifiers. They're the bottom seeded team, and they're still fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah, and on top of that, there's the support factor. I mean, Wildcard are a fully supported, salaried team that are, this is what they do in and out, and they have a lot more experience. Whereas LFO, like you said, they've come through open quals. They are called LFO, like they are looking for an organization. They don't have the resources, and you would assume, therefore, the time to putting in as much depth as a team like Wildcard. And I mean, that's also a credit to them because they are here fighting for playoffs. So given that position compared to some of the other teams here in Six Masters, like full credit to them because they are here in a position to be getting 4th place.
And I mean, now might be a great time to bring up how they can make the playoffs. If you have just joined us, both these teams are eligible to make the top 4. In fact, it's pretty much confirmed that one of them are going to make the top 4. If one team wins the entire series, so both maps, they will make the top 4. So let's say Ferox take this map and then take Coastline, they'll make the top 4. LFO, on the other hand, they need to win both maps as well or draw with some sort of crazy round difference, which gets really technical. But essentially, both these teams want to win both maps to just seal the deal and get inside that top 4.
Yeah, you don't want to be chancing it in that 1-1 situation based on how it all works out. Definitely gunning hard for that 2-0. So if Ferox do manage to get this first map, that's extra pressure onto LFO going into map 2 and vice versa. So I think whoever wins the first map, it really favors them in terms of mindset and that pressure because it does ease it a bit. And right now, Ferox are the ones trending towards that.
And I mean, LFO, historically so far this season, has felt like a team prone to pressure. And on the topic of pressure, this literally has not been any higher for them, for both teams. So whichever team has that lead is going to have that alleviated, I think, at least a little bit. Ferox so far, 4-2 in the half. They'll be pretty content with that. If they can keep that momentum rolling and LFO sort of get stuck in their own minds a little bit, it's going to be really hard for them to come back. And as we talked about earlier, they really need to lock in this map win.
Yeah, and it's tough coming into these matches with the lack of experience there. And they will be slowly shaking it off throughout this map, but they are battling from behind now. As we jump back in, you will see the score. They are down 2-4. So coming from behind does add up on that pressure. It's really once they break through that, if they manage to get back to 4-4, well, then they're flying, and that pressure will get alleviated.
And I mean, I'm going to contradict what we've just said there, but on the other side of the coin, it can also be pressure-inducing to be that leading team. For instance, if Ferox managed to find themselves on match point on this map,
Attackers need to locate.
then the pressure can sometimes be shifted back on them. I mean, we've seen time and time again here in Masters, teams really struggle to convert match points. So we might see a similar scenario here tonight. Again, we are at only 4-2. The half has concluded. We're now in the second, so plenty of rounds still to play. And it is really anyone's game.
We haven't seen how Ferox are going to be setting up with these defenses. Right now, it's not looking like it's a roam style for Church. Nothing shows that, at least in terms of their operator picks. Of course, they could still roam, but really not the traditional SSG roam, if you wish to call it that. Probably more likely to be a turtle, and we're going to see how LFO read into it and how they deal with these attacks. They have at least brought double hard breaches, so they've got a lot of utility at their disposal.
Very much an on-site hold at the moment for Ferox. Warden maybe trying to find a pick at top blue, as LFO will push from the top floor. So really all this is going to do is waste the time of the attackers, and Ferox will be grinning watching this round back. The more time that LFO take on this top floor and first floor take, the less time, of course, they have to execute, which if you're a defender is a great position to be in.
Not being quite a swift take of that first floor. They're going to be able to open up hatches and walls pretty quickly, but I mean, there's going to be a bit of a contest there when it comes to kitchen at least. That's where the real delay factor and danger factor is going to come out for LFO. They're going to have to be tight with their flank watch as well. I mean, you saw Warden already in storage. He was rearing to peek out and try and get an early pick, and you know he's going to try and do it late round as well.
Breaching charges being used there by Hills, creating some angles from above.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
Nasty
been
as well
dropped.
has opened the Moto hatch. No damage done by either team as we head into the final stages of this round, and this may well mean LFO need to go for a very aggressive execute.
They're giving themselves a lot of time to do it though, like a minute here, and they're at Church Wall, trying to get things happening. Nasty's actually going to be using some of his blowtorch just to open a small little crouch rotate. Ferox player's ready to pounce here. Todd going to throw that C4 out, not going to do too much to Nasty. Sushi's straight up contesting with bullets, but still, looks like it is going to be able to get finished off at least. And that is the downside to having that Arsenal wall at the top of the hallway reinforced. They can't directly contest it from Arsenal.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Ferox desperately trying to deny this hard breach. LFO though will get the first pick. Sushi still holding this angle. Grenade will go out once again. Doesn't find the mark. Drone to follow, trying to find where these players are located. In fact, there's two holding the breach. Sogs will find his second though off screen, and this is a great start for LFO. Nasty gets one as well. That's Sushi taken off the board, but the flank from Todd does net him two. Can he find the third though? No, he won't, and LFO will close out the round.
So far, guys, I've got to say, that attack looked pretty great from LFO. I mean, it was essentially a 5 versus 1 onto Todd at one stage there at the end of the round. Looked really clean, quick as well. They read through what Ferox were doing. They used their utility effectively. They just had all the time in the world. And that's what you want on the attack. Ferox aren't going to have a part of doing that again, yet at least. They're going to be going up to the gym bedroom.
LFO putting the foot down there in their first attack. Very positive start for them. Again, we're going to see gym and bedroom come out pretty early for the defense. It was attempted in the first round by LFO, and now it'll be attempted in the second defense for
Attackers need
Ferox.
to locate and defuse bombs.
Relatively similar lineup. I can't remember if LFO brought Goyo or not, so that could spice things up a bit.
Pretty good universal attack lineup from LFO being brought here as well. Looks like Ferox are pretty much sticking in similar lineup. I mean, they're leaning on Goyo so far in these two defenses. It seemed like it had an overall impact at all in that first round. See whether it helps here. Heavy setup on cash side that LFO are going to have to deal with. And that's actually something that was really great about Ferox's attacks, is they never hard pushed into cash CCTV, which you see so many teams do. They actually split a lot of their focus in more towards this bedroom hallway and from logistics and the windows.
Ferox again extending over towards CCTV. We've seen two variations of this hold. One for either team. Slight variations where those shields have been placed. In fact, Ferox have two. One also at the top of the main stairs. Warden getting very aggressive early. Those footholds could net him a kill. Shots rain out. Not sure if that's Mims that he tagged, but Mims is low. In fact, yes, it was Mims here on the butt. Critically, though, he will get away with his life.
Quite the oversight there. Oh, also Warden getting a little too aggressive. Shut down. Oh, was going to say is maybe the oversight from Mims just running ahead before it was properly droned. And if you saw the footholds, you'd want to be careful. Either way, it's worked out for them. They have managed to pick off Warden. Drone is going to help them push into CCTV as well. So they really are hard taking this. Whether they can get that final pick. Looks like the rotate has happened, in fact. So Ferox not wanting to lose another man on that side. They're going to bolster their defense back on site.
Nasty and Maverick will head to the roof, likely to go towards Jacuzzi Wall. Mims has rotated outside of Garage, flushing out some of those positions inside of Cash. That'll free up Angmo now, who can enter and potentially open the con wall. Hill's doing some acrobats with the diffuser there, not quite sure what's going on, if he wanted to leave it on the roof or not. He did fail.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
Either way, that looks like it has been now collected by Angmo, and it may well be a full comp push here. For LFO, they don't have a whole lot of time if they want to rotate somewhere else.
Just in a minute, and quite surprising to me that they have just completely left Jacuzzi Wall. It is just such a strong place to play and to open to prevent the defense from rotating around there. That's a beautiful nade from Nasty though. Some might say the nade itself was nasty. LFO looking pretty good on these attacks. They're in a 2 versus 4 situation, guys. Looking pretty into the final 30 seconds.
LFO looking to draw the scoreline for a piece. Sushi. He's a dead man inside of bathroom. Surely there's nothing he can do. A single shot will take him out. And there we go. He's off the board, leaving it up to Depcha. He's stuck inside of Jim. There's nothing he can do, and LFO will take the round.
One of the exact situations we were talking about, guys. They were at a deficit, but now LFO, that's 2 rounds in a row on the attack, 3 rounds in a row for the game. They've tied it up 4-4, and this momentum shift has happened in such dramatic fashion now that LFO really aren't going to be feeling as much pressure as they were before, because they've brought it back. It's 4-4, they're on a roll, their confidence is high. Ferox, on the other hand, well, boy, their pressure is really stacked up now.
And we thought we were going to see Montang brought there by Sogs, but he does 6-pick onto Zofia, and it doesn't really bait anything from Ferox, who may have been considering a hard counter like a Legion, for example, or a Capcan even, but they do fall into that trap. Again, we are heading below. This will be Ferox's second attempt on this side. The first, pretty unsuccessful. It was Todd left in a 1-on-4, and not much he could do. Ferox played it a little bit of a turtle strat, if you would. There wasn't a whole lot going on off-site. So maybe they'll be a little bit more aggressive this round, or
10 seconds
again, maybe they'll try and let LFO feed them.
5 seconds to insertion.
Looks like we are going to see a heavier roam though, bringing all the signs of it. The castle, the mute, and the mozzie. So see whether LFO can deal with this differently. Deptra is hanging around storage, but he's going back to site. Todd's still in bar. Maybe he's going to play around, but it looks like he's rotating back as well. So it's a bit of a baited roam here. See how long it takes LFO to read into it. Those mute and mozzie gadgets. Does mean it will take a bit of extra time to drone out and clear.
Again, the winner of this map positions themselves really nicely to try and qualify for the Six Masters playoffs. Only 4 teams will make the cut. 3 have already secured their spot. That's Okami, Sinister, and Wildcard. Not in that order though. I got the order wrong. It'll be Wildcard, Sinister, and then Okami. In that order, there you go. One of these teams is looking to spoil the party and find the 4th. Of course, heading into tonight, Pittsburgh Knights were in that position, but it's looking incredibly unlikely they will stay there as these teams continue to battle it out.
Yeah, and just quickly, that is part of the complication picture that we talked about if these teams do tie the series at 1-1. Too deep into it right now. Either way, these teams fighting for a 2-0, that will get them that 4th spot. Right now, it is LFO. They are on the steam train towards that because the momentum they have gained in these last 2 rounds, and also you could almost call it dominance. These attacks have been fantastic from LFO and somewhat dominant. They have come up against a different objective here, a different obstacle. Taking a little bit more time. It was right now that they really had pressure on Church Wall. They're gonna have to be more thorough.
Todd is sneaking around at the cutout. Is droned out, though, needs to be mindful of vertical pressure, and it looks like Mims might clear it or not. Instead, rotating down main, aware of the time, 45 seconds left, and Sogs will be the first to drop. Hill's now covering the main hall, trying to find one back in response, but that's proving challenging. Mims as well, aware that there might still be a player cut off. He is correct in picking that position. The question is, will he peek it? Hills, meanwhile, found himself inside a moto. Trying to find this pick. Nasty. He has the diffuser. He's going to Maverick trick the wall. Or at least create some angles. He doesn't have a lot of time to work with, though, Raven. Only 15 seconds left.
Yeah, and the positioning is not good for LFO here. This is really sitting pretty for Ferox. It's going to come down to some gunfights. Hills does get one onto Sushi. Todd has something to back it up with, though. It's going to be all-out war here, pushing, and it just goes into favor of Ferox. They sit tight on site, and they get around against the grain of LFO's momentum.
The real difference in that attack was the lack of pressure on Church Wall. I mean, last time we did see Maverick pressuring that with a lot of force. 2 players trying to ward off that attack last time from Ferox, and it didn't work out. But on this occasion, they were able to sit pretty on side and inside blue, and it is such an awkward push out the moto door that was shut down in the end. Ferox now a round away from claiming match point.
It all came down really to Warden getting that pick in blue. Just meant that there was no other important control towards the objective that LFO had to help them get onto site or get a plant down. It really was just a total funnel. A comfortable spot to be in as a defense, because you don't have to think about too much. You just have to aim in one direction, crossfire it, as long as you trade it out, when you're going to get the rounds. Really well played from Ferox. Not even sure whether their baited roam was really as much of a factor. It did take them a touch longer. But I think also just the fact that LFO weren't able to get any early picks this time. The utility use didn't look as on point. And they also comfortably couldn't open that church walls, though. All stacking up against them here. We're going to get to see Ferox attempt now CCTV cash for the first time.
A little bit weird seeing it so late in the half, but I guess part of that can be attributed to Maverick being on the board, and this wall, despite being prepped by the defenders and shooting it, to make it a little bit more challenging, it won't be impossible for Nasty to open it. In fact, Mims will help out by using his skeleton key on the wall. Mims himself having a little bit of a quieter map tonight. Of course, keep in mind the stats won't be completely reflective due to the rehost. He hasn't really had a massive map. Hasn't really had to. It's just something to know.
Yeah, we did gas him up a bit, but he hasn't really
Cast a curse.
had the didn't quite have the impact he had on Tuesday. But either way, LFO are still well and truly in this. By all rights, they could tie this up at 5-5. Maverick's finally done the job there on the CCTV wall, so that is going to put some pressure onto these defenders on site now.
A lot of presence below here. And, yeah, talking about below, Warden's all the way in basement. Hills or Mims will need to be mindful of that flank. My words are just getting... You know what's happened? I've got shreds of coconut stuck in my mouth because I'm eating a lamington. That is the most Australian thing ever. And it tongue twisted my words, so my apologies.
Made a grave mistake.
Yes, I did.
Even mistakes. Nobody here willing to make a mistake. I really feel like the aggression has toned down a lot in this match. like 2 minutes in, and there really hasn't been a direct engagement. Warden has just been
Bomb
spending
located by
forever on the
attacker.
other side of the map alone. Starting to wonder whether LFO have any idea what might be coming behind them. Hills is the one tasked with watching that. Might see it come to fruition very soon.
This could be very awkward. I don't know if Hills saw him then. I think Warden did. Did he? Maybe not. Surely heard the rappel to his right and elects not to chase it. Drone in position to cover the flank, but there are 5 attackers
Defender
alive,
has
so
left
no one
the
watching it.
designated staging
Warden
area.
peeks, but won't go all the way. Only 15 seconds left though, Raven. This could be explosive as the entry will come out. Sushi shuts down Agmo. Diffuser dropped as Shade finds another. Sushi can just sit there and hose him down, surely, and he finds one more. Leaving it now in a 1-on-5, and Ferox will decimate LFO and take the round.
Decimate indeed, and in the end, LFO, yes, again, they really just didn't have much control around the objective besides the window and the run-in. Never really going to work out in that instance, as you said, with the older watching the breach. Hard to stack anybody through that, let alone multiple. And now Ferox on match point. Means LFO need 2 perfect rounds just to force overtime.
Oh, the pressure, man. It's really starting to rise here for LFO, isn't it? It's so far been a pretty good map for them. That last round, the fact that not only does it put Ferox on match point, but the fact that it was also flawless in their favor is really going to mount, I think, a lot here on LFO.
Yeah, and it's real been a juggle of pressure right now. I mean, before we saw the other rehost, LFO were down 4-2. They won 2 rounds in a row to bring it back to 4-4. Now we see Ferox get 2 rounds in a row. It's up 6-4. So it really is just this pressure bouncing back and forward, back and forward. It is now with LFO, as you said. 2 rounds they need to force overtime at least on this map.
And I mean, heading into the second half, we had that rehost. We took our time and spoke about the fact that LFO probably went in with a great chance, but they came out of the gate strong. Unfortunately, now they find themselves in a pretty similar position, a couple of rounds down, the pressure mounting. Can they do it again? Can they win a couple of rounds here and try and bring this one to overtime?
I mean, I think it's a possibility. Those first 2 rounds were really good attacks. It's not like they just managed to fluke it or it was a couple of close rounds. They were actually nice attacks, well read and analyzed and executed. So they've got it in them. They just need to summon the energy again because we saw Ferox. They chose Gym Bedroom. Last time that was held, it was an LFO victory. Ferox have shown that they've been adapting really well to what LFO is doing. So it's now on LFO to be ready to readapt to that. And they have to do it now. They can't lose any rounds.
I mean, LFO are in a good position to take a round, as you mentioned. They went Gym Bedroom, and that was because that's the only site outside of Bar, which we never see played on this map, that is available because they won 2 straight. So LFO really need to capitalize here. I mean, their last attack was actually quite strong, really. It was pretty dominant, and that was off the back of that Church attack round win, which was the first in the half as well. That's when they looked strong. These last 2 rounds, though, I don't know. Time management wasn't great. I mean, that basement attack, for example, let's go back to that one, right? When they tried to head in towards Church, they didn't have the pressure on the wall with the Maverick like they did previously, and they were filtered through sight. The most recent round on Cash, similar story. They didn't really head anywhere else other than the main wall. They filtered into sight and just got shredded. So it feels like LFO just need to sort of mount their attacks a little bit more strategically.
Yeah, and I'm not really seeing anything that stands out for why they aren't obtaining more map control. I mean, maybe once they got the main wall with CCTV open in that most recent round, maybe it was just a struggle to get Courage, and then they just decided that was it. But they could have taken construction, maybe tried to have more work at Cash, more vertical control from below. I don't know, there's a whole lot of things that you can try to flush out those positions that it just felt like wasn't really happening. So yeah, I think they just need to be putting more emphasis on that, because everything else they're doing quite well. They got CCTV wall open quite quickly and quite cleanly, but there's more to it than that.
And I mean, heading into this next round, of course, Gym Bedroom, in a sense, that map, or that objective rather, will play out relatively similar. I mean, you have the main wall at Jacuzzi, right? You open that, you can enter through there, but you're probably going to die. It's a bit of a death trap heading in towards bathroom, depending on how aggressive you are. You want to be trying to mount those attacks from the other side of the map. You have Con, you have Logi, and we saw that. LFO were able to get control of those and pressure those positions on their previous attempt. So if they can try and replicate that, then they should be able to convert this round win. And then if we see ourselves at a 6-5, that's when it starts to get really, really spicy, right? Because then basement will open back up, and then the question will be, does Ferox reattempt Jim, or do they head back downstairs?
And in that instance, I would assume that they would go for the basement because they're a 50-50 win rate on that, whereas if they lose this round on Jim, that'd be 0 win rate on that. So we will have to wait and see whether it does pan out that way. What I want to see from LFO in terms of an adaptation that I thought was very strange, but I mean it worked out for them, was that they didn't open Jacuzzi Wall last time they attacked Jim. And that could have come back to bite them because they tried to funnel through construction and through logistics. And that's a strong hallway position you can hold to deny that entry. I think if they open Jacuzzi Wall this time, that is enough to displace what Ferox might have done to try and adapt to the LFO attack of that previous round.
Yeah, I mean, I think a real key part of the objective to watch in this upcoming round will be bathroom. It's a position that we've seen Ferox invest utility into, manpower as well. But equally, LFO have been trying to flush that out. We saw vertical play being established by the defenders that could be used against them. We've also seen pressure on the bathroom wall as well. So yeah, maybe they don't need to open Jacuzzi Wall. If they can pressure out bathroom, that's one of the key positions that can sort of hold off that com push. Once that's taken off the board, which LFO have done previously, then they can try and mount the rest of their attack.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some really interesting little changes coming around on this next round, and I'm really excited to see how it plays out, which we get to see right now, funnily enough.
Good timing. It's almost like you knew the round was starting again.
Almost.
It's almost like you knew.
Almost.
Alrighty, Jim Bedroom. 6-4 the scoreline. Ferox with the lead. Both these teams desperately want a 2-0. Give themselves every chance of making the top 4, make the Six Masters playoffs. The loser of this map will be well and truly on the back foot. Ferox only a breath away.
That they are. Time for LFO to really tuck it up and get ready to put up with Ferox. 2 rounds to get to overtime at least, so they can save this map. Of course, it is Ferox's map pick. Let's highlight that. They've decided to go to Clubhouse. They have touted as a strength for LFO in the past. They've looked decent on it, but so far it hasn't quite been enough.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Has been a struggle. It's been a struggle for both these teams at particular moments on Clubhouse. Question is who can come out on top. I'm liking this aggression again from Warden. Again, unfortunately, we won't know exactly how many kills he has gotten so far. I haven't been tracking that, but it has felt like he's had a pretty decent impact so far. One of the stronger fraggers here for Ferox throughout the season. Again, looking to make his mark here on the first map of this best of 2.
Bill's made his way in with the garage rafters now. Was a brief little run out there. We didn't quite get to see where that was from. Warden under so much pressure. Mims with a nice shot through the floor. Bullet to the face. Means Warden won't get to play out the rest of this round at least. 2 minutes to go, sorry. They have made some good control now and got that entry pick.
Hill's setting up a drone. He's actually going to climb that up the ladder, but no, he gives up and send that down blue. Meanwhile, Mims is droning ahead for the rest of his team and himself. Over towards Con. So it looks like LFO are investing once again on this side of the map and maybe foregoing the Jacuzzi control once again.
A bomb has been located.
It's a little bit to deal with. A lot of map control. This is nasty, rotating over towards Jacuzzi. Oh, he's teasing me with it, guys. I thought he was finally going to go open that wall, but not to be. They've opened the line at least for some angles there. Sog struggling to shoot that mid channel on the quick peek. Finally does get it. And it looks like LFO really are in so much more control. But oh, Deptra, that's a bit of a cheeky little peek out, Jim. Sog's taken out now, so equal man advantage. And with that wall closed, look, he's able to play so freely around this hallway.
It may well come back to bite them here as LFO have 45 seconds in a 4 versus 4 to take the round, but Deptra, he gets another. Able to just rotate freely near that jacuzzi wall. Hills pre-firing the top of the main stairs, won't find a pick, but he will be taken out himself. Angmo, Mims, they're left in a 2-on-4. Mims has been massive so far this season. Can he produce the goods now? That's the question. Angmo needs to be covered. He has the diffuser in hand, and now he's left in a 1 versus 4, and he will be shut down. Ferox will take the first map of the night.
We said it a lot, or I said it a lot, guys. They needed to open Jacuzzi Wall. The man playing around there got a 3K in the end. That is Deptra. So, well played from Ferox. They dug deep. LFO threw some stuff at them throughout that match, but they just stayed on top. And 7-4 ends up being a pretty strong victory.
And again, we will have to wait to confirm on the maths, but this will make the chances of LFO making the playoffs incredibly low. Team Ferox, of course, if they win the next map, will secure the spot. And a draw may suffice. I think they'll be happy with that performance, though. It was a little bit sketch. The first 2 rounds, of course, of LFO's attack were against Ferox, but in the end, they brought it back with a pretty dominant last few rounds.
Yeah, and of course, it was Ferox's map pick, so coming in, that was probably what they've prepped the heaviest on. So they will be happy with that. LFO did fight back, but it was never enough. Now the real challenge is on for Ferox to secure that 2-0, which of course will secure their 4th place, and it's going to be against LFO's map pick. It's Coastline as well, which is going to be quite the contest, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, LFO last time they played Coastline, it was 7-3 in their favor. It was the Mims show, and I mean, Mims unfortunately having a little bit of a quieter first map tonight. He's going to have to step up massive to give LFO any chance.
Yeah, and you don't always want that, right? We talked about it a little bit earlier in the wildcard Kami game. You never want like your team to be winning based on that one player stepping up. LFO were doing half decent on Clubhouse with Mims having a quiet one. Maybe they do just need somebody to give them that energy and summon some strength to be able to secure this next map.
Well, Ferox lead the series 1-0. On the other side of the break, it will be Coastline. We'll see you then.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser. Attackers dropped the diffuser. 15 seconds to go. 15 seconds to go.
the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, used to want it bad, used to want it bad, but I can't taste it, I can't help you now, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, follow me around, okay, black face, hey, follow me around, okay, got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up, take a action, now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no sex. They say Darnish, why you sad? I said I just need the thing. Red tape, got too close, I hit the city. Black face, show you everything you need to your phone. Get it bad, someone said it sad. Cause I used to want it bad. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you.
The time has come. This will be the final map of the Six Masters 2020 season. And Raven, Ferox have come out of the gates very strong here tonight.
They have. It was a good performance from them in the end on Clubhouse. LFO had a good fight though, some great rounds, but it just slipped away in the end.
Well, of course, the second map of the night will be Coastline. That will be LFO's pick. What are we expecting heading into this one? Because there might be a chance that LFO can still make the playoffs if they have a really strong second map.
Potentially, and they are going to be fighting tooth and nail for just that. Coastline, I think, is going to be a good contest. We've seen good matches from both of these teams. Ferox did just scrape through against Kanga on it in an 8-7 affair, whereas LFO absolutely smacked Kanga just on Tuesday, 7-3 on this map.
Yeah, I think that's the most concerning thing for me. If you're a Ferox fan going into this, that match against Kanga was so close and really only came off the back of an insane clutch. I can't remember who hit the clutch for Team Ferox, but was it Deptra? I don't know. I could be talking absolute smack there, but I know that a clutch kept them in that match and they just got out of it alive. LFO, though, as you mentioned, decent form on this map, but unfortunately tonight their form hasn't really been the best.
No, not quite. They need to summon some super strength right now. We are still not 100% sure on the standings if it's too late, but regardless, I'm sure they're going to be fighting hard to give them the best chance possible.
Let's do a recap of the poll vote and see exactly what you guys thought heading into this one. See if anyone's mind has changed at all. And yeah, I mean, Ferox, they had the lead. The draw, again, had strong support and we could still see that. But unfortunately, 28% of you are knocked out. So GN to you guys.
Yeah, and look, I mean, it could have gone either way. I think there was every chance that LFO might have shown up strong on Clubhouse. I felt like it was a slight risky pick for Ferox. Of course, they are strong on it as well, but it's not like LFO have had completely terrible performances on Clubhouse. But Ferox made it through. They're on to LFO's map pick now.
Really excited to see how this one will play out. It's the final map of the entire season. It's the second matchup tonight between Team Ferox taking on LFO, and we're heading to Coastline. This should be a great way to cap off what has been a very exciting season.
Yes, and of course it will bookend our season leading into the playoffs in a month's time. Finally conclude for sure who are the four teams going into that. Coastline is going to be a tight affair. Thatcher getting banned out first there by Ferox. Means that utility clearing is going to be a little bit trickier, but I think teams are so accustomed to it these days, it's a bit of a given.
Yep. Well, I mean, Thatcher has had a 100% ban rate in all four maps tonight, so the teams are definitely well accustomed. By this stage, Ying will follow up, and I think we saw a Ying ban earlier tonight, right? So Ying is Obviously, quite a strong operator despite being nerfed. In fact, we didn't see Goyo Band. We didn't see Ying Band earlier in the night. So again, I'm just talking smack. I don't know what I'm talking about, but we did see quite a few Ying Bangs earlier in the season. That has dropped off though.
Yeah, it has, and it has facilitated some teams to utilize her to quite effect. So LFO is deciding Ferox are not going to be using that to any effect there. And final ban coming out from Ferox is going to be a Valkyrie, which is usually a strong ban on Coastline. There are a lot of runouts that are heavily facilitated by those Valkyrie black eye cameras. So having her banned means that's not as simple or as easy. Denying that intel on the defense means that Ferox won't be able to use that in the first half.
LFO, of course, starting on the attack. Some would say the favored position here on Coastline. LFO's pick as well, looking to really play into that aggression they are renowned for. The aggression that Team Ferox will be looking to shut down, and Blue Sunrise will be the first objective, which is a little bit of an off-meta choice. There are some teams that will go there first, and I guess Ferox are one of those.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah. Twitch as well, you know? Twitch? I can't even think of the last time I cast before he played Twitch, man.
I don't think I've seen Twitch all season at all, once. She's just,
you're right.
She's just not good. I mean, maybe Hills will pop off here and prove me wrong, but I just think that in the current meta, Twitch is not very viable. I guess, you know, Thatcher's banned, so it'll be an alternative to that. But the fact that the drone is pretty easy to spot, pretty easy to counter, I'm not too sure. Maybe Hills just likes the F2. Which
Yeah,
is also
I mean,
been nerfed.
F2 is still a great gun though. It still smacks pretty hard. One thing is Ferox don't actually have a mute or a mozzie, so nothing to really stop that drone from getting where it wants to go. It's just down to bullets to actually be the thing that ultimately stops it. Hills could actually do some surprise little damage here with his shock drones. Excited to see how the round plays out for him. Of course, it is Blue Bar Sunrise. How this attack goes, you'd expect him to try and take Aquarium. Maybe even this office where Todd is playing right now on Pulse, getting his intel through the scanner.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Pulse, of course, an incredibly strong operator on this map. A lot of the floor is destructible, so any intel above or below can aid in obtaining C4 kills, or even straight just floor bangs, or even wall bangs to an extent. Todd will be well aware that there are players outside of office. Shade, though, he needs to be mindful of Mims and Hills. They're both playing outside the red bar window. In fact, Mims now rotating to the blue bar window. Rotate in between the sites will be disrupted by some ex-Kairos, delivered gracefully by Mims, as they continue to just prod around the site.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Strong positions held, Kitchen being one of them. Warden's not strong enough though. Angmo is going to find an entry through that one.
Whoa, he didn't see
The opening pick. Oh, Angmo just missing out. Sogs finds another kill though. This gives LFO a good man advantage. So after half of the round played out, this position in Kitchen though could be a little troublesome. They might want to clear this out soon.
Mims finds another for his team. Sushi and Shade left in a 2-on-5, and they need to hold out for another minute. Shade will find one. If Sushi finds one, this could be winnable. They don't have the diffuser. LFO forced to get aggressive, and there we go. Hills will get one from the vault. Can he find the second?
Ooh.
He does. And there we go. Twitch is absolutely OP, and the F2 is clearly way too strong and needs another nerf.
Great shooting from Hills. Great attack overall from LFO. Worked those picks beautifully, only losing one of their own. Eric's going to have to keep moving. But right now, that seems like a strong, confident opening from LFO to make a statement here on Coastline.
Alright, who am I going to make fun of this round? And they'll pop off. I'm going to go Todd. I'm going to back Todd to go big here. Actually, no, he's going to go really bad. That's what I was meant to say. I was gonna have a
Attackers need to
terrible round and
locate
not do anything.
defuse bombs.
That's all I'm saying.
See how that works out for you guys. Oh, Twitch works out for Hills again because he's persisting with that. Pretty happy about how it worked out for him in that first round. They're bringing the Mozzie this time though, which I feel like is definitely a direct counter to the Twitch. Not sure exactly the impact the shock drones had, but at least this helps negate some of the
10
impact it
seconds
can
left
have.
before insertion. 5 seconds remaining. Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
LFO looking to really continue that momentum that they have established. Ferox though, and arguably a slightly more comfortable site.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
Could find
been dropped.
safety in that as Hills on the entry Twitch being droned in as well. Player pinged inside of Sunrise will be pinched in. Hills could well find another pick. Oh, he missed it. Oh, okay. He does secure it at the end. A little bit dodgy there, but he does find the pick.
Focus continuing with strength right now on Coastline. It's looking pretty good, but we are only 1 and a bit rounds in. Banner charge from below. Opening the hatch? Not opening the hatch?
Located by
Oh, that
an
actually downed him.
Oh, well placed and well cooked from Angmo. Sure they're gonna be able to secure it at least. He's hunting, trying to figure it out. Probably can hear through the hole that that player has been down, but they're not able to secure it at least. Shade is going for the revive. So at the minimum, Sushi will be up with about 20 HP on.
They both got flash there. Slogs actually potentially almost had the angle, so they did just get away with that. Double window was exposed. Halfway in the round now, LFO with that man advantage. Player over towards luggage. That's my man Todd. Waiting for him to do absolutely nothing this round. He's playing it patiently. Could be an engagement soon as Warden forfeits that position. Well, he doesn't really forfeit it. Instead, Mims actually just takes him out. Todd will need to go for the retake, and he will be shut down. So, oh, and it was Hills as well. Of all players, it was Hills. Oh, you couldn't have ridden that.
What have you done?
That's my fault. I take responsibility.
But he really summoned Mims as well. I've noticed that he's had some pretty great picks in the Sabana so far. We were talking a little bit critical about his first map. Shade finally gets an answer for Ferox, but still got another 2 to deal with, and 45 seconds on the clock is a whole lot of attacker onslaught to face against.
Well, that's a Twitch drone as well, so Hills is really getting to work here, but unfortunately the rest of his team is falling. Sushi and Shade left in a 2-1-3. Shade feeling the pump from the main window. Needs to be mindful he doesn't get pushed from Vars. That's why Sushi's trying to hold that angle, but can he do enough? Sushi, he's going to go for the wide swing and will refrag it, but he is left in a 1 versus 2, low on HP. A player on rappel covering the cross as Mims will stick plant.
Drop the diffuser.
Bomb goes down. Sushi actually will kill him, but the refrag there from the double window will secure LFO the round.
Almost a very good 2v4 comeback there for Ferox, but no, LFO do manage to get it just. Maintain some momentum at least. And Hills is having a good match with that Twitch so far. So look guys, why not? He looks like he's going to stick it.
Yep, I mean, if an amp break and fix it. I can't believe it's working, but it is. Kitchen service will be selected by Ferox. Again, Coastline is LFO's pick. It's also a map that can lean towards the attackers quite heavily. Ferox, though, if they don't find a pick or find a round in the first 3, that could be a cause,
Attackers need to locate
cause
and
for
defuse
concern.
as many bombs as they
Is that
can.
even, I don't even know if that's the right saying. I'm going to go with it though.
Attackers have located a bomb.
See what Ferox can summon here on Kitchen. First 2 defenses haven't been particularly great. I mean, they did almost bring back round 2. But it should never have gone to that in the first place. LFO really is having their way on entry in the first half of the round especially. Probably time for Ferox to fight back a little bit. Not sure whether it's about aggression or positioning. Either way, they might need to change up something with their playstyle right now because LFO are doing some great work at adapting and countering.
I think the one thing that stood out for me so far is the lack of refrags from Ferox. Coastline is a map that time and time again we see strong teams really outdo their opponents in the refrag department. So far though, it's been a weakness of Ferox. Looking to turn that around again, trying to find at least one round in the first 3. Although that will leave them to either 1, go to a site they've already lost, or 2, go to Penthouse. And that's not a great start. Angmo on to Todd, and Warden's under the pump here. There's 3 players peeking this doorway as Angmo finds another. Surely Hills will get this kill, but no, he gets taken down. The refrag not there from LFO and Warden. Really keeping his team in this one.
He is going off with the Twitch. Ferox are really fighting from behind here, and again, first minute, really successful entry from LFO. So much pressure on Ferox in these defenses.
Air jabs have been used by Nasty to cut off these rotates, and he's alongside Mims, of course, who has that diffuser in hand. Players now actually rotating around. We could well see a kitchen window plant, maybe even a service door. It does feel like this round's been going on for a while, but Ferox, they still have to defend for another minute 20.
Definitely feel like that when you see such successful, aggressive entries. Look at the scoreboard and you just think, you know, a lot has played out, but it's all happened at once. LFO are pretty set here. Looks like Mims is pretty keen to jump in and go for this plant. Bait some shots or bait some positions to be changed on the behalf of Ferox here. Angmo gets a nice one onto Sushi. He's on a triple right now. Nasty gets another, which means it's all up to Shade in service. Oof.
Mims there with the final kill. Clean way to start winning some, not winning some rounds. A clean way to win 3 in a row. Of course, it has been quite dominant from LFO so far. Looking to bounce back from what was a pretty questionable clubhouse map. Blue Sunrise now will be reattempted from Ferox. So we're not going to go around the world. We're not going to be heading to Penthouse, at least not yet. And I mean, there's a possibility we'll go there. Miro is still in play. Often critical in holding that site, but Ferox yet to bite that bullet.
Way back to Blue Bar Sunrise, which we saw in round 1, which was won quite successfully by LFO. So let's see what Ferox can have for this. LFO are really putting their best foot forward here, trying to salvage what they can to take 4th place from Ferox or not. They are up 3-0 right now, guys, so they are putting on quite the show on Coastline.
Indeed they are. Ferox as well, looking to take the map, or at least keep it close for the standings. And on top of that, they want to have a strong finish to the season, gain some momentum for the playoffs, because keep in mind, if they do qualify, pardon me, they will be versing some really strong teams. They'll be taking on the likes of, again, Wildcard, Okami, Sinister, all those teams in red hot form. If there is a scenario where Ferox make it, they have to be thinking about the long term. They need to be able to really take it up against some of the best teams that the region has to offer.
Absolutely right. That Twitch drone is working out quite successfully. You know, he's taking out things like those banner charges, which means that hard bridge can be successful in such an early stage of the round at that. That I'm sure Ferox would have been wanting to prevent for a lot longer. So I'm behind this Twitch decision right now. I mean, I feel like it's being used and Hills is getting some pretty good frags on it.
I'm back. My apologies. Mims, though, he finds that pick. I was muted, ladies and gentlemen, because I was having a coughing fit again. The Lamingtons, they're out to kill me. As Mims is looking for some kills himself. That's the horizontal pressure now established by Ango as Mims gets his double. I believe Sushi is still sitting behind this bar. He is. The shotgun has been whipped out as Warden finds a pick. Sushi actually will be taken out by Hills. He's actually pushed through. Kitchen. Can he find the second? No. There's a player in office. Not sure exactly where the other defender is. Warden will find Angmei though. It's a 2 versus 2. Hills still trying to find this pick. Will now need to try and attempt the plant. It's Sogs left to cover. Not sure if Ferox have the intel here. Sogs is not really in a great position to deny that, but Todd didn't have the confidence to push, and now we are left in a post plant. Warden shut down on his rotate, and now it's left up to Todd in a 1 versus 2.
He's trying to retake in towards Sunrise. Does catches Sogs as he drops down the bar. Almost catches Hills, but Hills will get the better of him. As LFO 4 in the row. Looking pretty good.
Yes, they are. And a very strong statement from them here on Coastline. 4 rounds in a row. Ferox having no real answer. All of the rounds pretty heavily in favor of the August team. Hookah Billiards will be the side of choice here from Ferox. Again, they have attempted this site. It was in the 2nd round with no success. Well, it's time they try and find some success before they let this one slide away.
Oh, we are seeing the 6th pick onto Capcan, guys. We are finally going to get to see some Capcan, which is actually kind of cool. Because, look, you don't see it much, which is how it works well. Teams don't remember to look for those traps if you're not spotted early. And on top of that, LFO haven't brought an IQ. They will have to be physically checking doorways and windows.
But they have brought the Twitch drone, Raven, so look,
True.
Hills is just the mastermind of this map, that's all I'm saying. Big brain.
Yeah, also does, of course, counter Capcan. So yeah, let's see whether these shock drones are what have more of effect, or whether these traps that Capcan is laying down might have the effect as well. Deptra, in fact, hasn't found his way into this match so far. Maybe this will be his answer.
Oh, Hills. This man is a Twitch main. Have a look at that drone positioning. Deptra just has absolutely no idea, and I bet Hills will probably jump on that drone and shoot out these traps later in the round, which Deptra won't be too happy about.
Device primed. Keep an eye on door.
Unfortunate for him. I do like the fact that Ferox is bringing something different to the table. As there, here we go, Hills gets to work. This is what they need to try and do, because nothing so far really has worked.
Yeah, always good to try up a few different things. Those that don't take risks won't find success. Warden takes a big risk and finds success there onto Mims. Quick early peek onto that VIP balcony. Sog's not quite in position to cover. That is diffuser down there as well. They are aware they could group around it and try and prevent LFO recovering it.
The question really is if Warden knows if that diffuser has dropped. It's likely that he does, but of course keep in mind in competitive, the players don't get the point notifications. So normally when you're playing the game, you get a point notification if you drop the diffuser. In competitive, you just don't get that. You would have had to visually see that diffuser go down. The fact that he's holding this position indicates to me that he does know, but it doesn't matter. Sogs will shut him down. He teabags as well. And that was a nice early pick.
Answer back for that early shot from Warden. Half the round has faded away. Saw some good positions held on site. He was just trying to get a random floor bang there. Pretty common spots to be sitting. Was a player laying right next to that, so not too far off the mark at least.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Diffuser in the hands of Nasty, repelling over towards the Aqua Bulk, so they may well push from the southern side of the map. Sogs with the critical control on the double window. Actually, I think there's a player prone here to the left of Nasty. Yes, there is. So there is a player inside of Aqua. Not sure if Todd's position has been revealed. He's going to vault. That may give a sound cue potentially. Flashes rain out. He gets a little bit stuck here. Not the best timing for Todd. Is Nasty aware of that position? He does flash it. Will he pick? He does. Will he win the gunfight? He'll also do that as well. The refrag missing the mark, and LFO will have the man advantage.
That gunfight with Nasty probably went a little bit longer than he'd want to, but LFO are just getting all of these angles onto Ferox. It's all up to Sushi. Stuck at the drinks bar of billiards. Being peeked on here by Vase. Nice flick from Kim. Catches Angmo. Almost gets the one on the window. Finally does. 1 versus 2 now. Can Sushi do it all himself?
15 seconds
Down
remaining.
to Nasty and Hills. To 10 seconds.
10 seconds to go.
Oh, Sushi. I almost thought he had that. Both of the remaining players for LFO were low on HP. So it's a great effort. Unfortunately, the pinch from LFO will prove successful, and they are now 5 rounds up, looking for a flawless half.
Flawless half indeed. See how they go. Again, we are talking. They are putting their best foot forward to be able to get 4th place, which we will get confirmation on at the end of the match. Right now, if it goes 1-1, as we said, it does get a little complicated.
Yes.
Ferox up against the ropes.
Yes, they are. And I mean, even if Ferox, as we talked about earlier, do end up
Attackers
qualifying,
need to locate and defuse as many bombs
a loss of this magnitude probably wouldn't sit well. Of course, keep in mind the playoffs are a little bit away.
located a bomb.
July 3rd to 5th. Plenty of time for these teams to rejuvenate over the break and come into that with fresh minds. Ferox just not putting a very strong case forward on why they should probably avoid, or they are putting a strong case forward on why they should avoid Coastline if they do make the playoffs. Is that series between Kanga was very close? This one here also quite
Attackers'
tight.
objective is to defuse the bomb.
I definitely envision a scenario where if Ferox do make the playoffs, Coastline may be one of the first maps banned.
You're right there. This is on 8-2 with this Twitch. Bring on a bit of a clinic here. The F2. They want Ferox to muster up in this final round of their defense. They have not been successful on any of them, of course, as you see they are down 0-5 right now. Last time they attempted Kitchen was way back in round 3. Have much of an answer at all for LFO, and these shock drones are not only just getting gadgets, but collecting some great intel here from Hills.
Oh, can't help but laugh a little bit. Of course, Twitch doesn't see a whole lot of love at the moment. But I mean, he is doing basic Twitch things, really. He's been taking out defaults, taking out cap can traps. I'm sure some of the Q mines as well have been collected. Of course, the drone itself only does 1 HP worth of damage, or inflicts 1 HP's worth of damage on any enemies, so it's really only useful in clearing utility. Those charges do rejuvenate over time, but that's unfortunate. He's going to have to try and shoot that out, but Deptra, he might be able to hide it here. Oh, this is the biggest battle of 6 Masters. Deptra on Hill's Twitch drone. Who's going to come out on top? Because Deptra is now using that for intel. Could even meme it up and shoot the other Twitch drone. He does! Oh, that's the greatest play of 6 Masters. Oh, pencil that in. That was amazing.
Oh, that was fantastic. I love that. And look, that's actually chewed up a lot of time here. We're almost down to the final minute. LFO have managed to get some horizontal map control here, not so much vertically, or not so sure about their verticality at least. There are a couple above. Mims at the window again, ready to bait out or jump in and plant, just as you saw where they planted last time. Sogs finally gets the opening kill. That's after about 2 minutes of play.
Mims at the diffuser. Jumps into the window. Angmo finds Shade. Sushi will drop that diffuser though. Great kill on sight for him, and now LFO need to recollect it. But Warden, he holds the fort inside of the lobby. How many more can he find? As Hills himself has also been downed. Angmo through those holes is lit up as well. It's up really to him and Nasty to try and bring this round back, but Ferox are looking like they may well win their first here on Coastline. And as the nade gets cooked, Angmo is shut down.
15
Nasty
seconds to go.
left in effectively a 1-on-3. Everyone for Ferox on full HP. 10 seconds to work with, and surely there's nothing he can do. Ferox will win their one and only defense of the half.
Well, better late than never. They do bring it back, 1-5 now, and they will go onto the attack. And look, I've got to say, Ferox attacking on Coastline in the past, they have looked quite good at it. So I think this is definitely going to be a tough half for LFO. They are only 2 rounds away from the map win though, and at least 1 round from getting OT.
Look, winding back to the last round there, all I'm saying, Mozzie won them that round. That was such a good play. Twitch on Twitch. Ah. Never thought I'd call that in a comp game, but there you go. It happened. Wow. All right, time to move on. Reflections have concluded, and we are now in the second half.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Blue bar again will actually be the first objective. So both of these teams
Attackers have
electing
located
to
a
go
bomb.
there first.
Deep Aussie combo, so going to deny intel, and they're bringing also Wamai and Jaeger. Excellent little combos on defense.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
10 seconds.
Wow, Vids was going exploring there, going mining under Coastline, but he's back. It's great to see.
Attackers are
And
moving.
you'll be able to
to
use
defuse
those
the
pests
bomb.
now around the map and try and deny some of the intel alongside Sogs. Ferox will need to try and deal with that, and of course, there's no Thatcher on the board to aid.
So, 4 rounds down from Ferox. Leaving a lot to chance here in terms of their chances of getting 4th spot in the playoffs and 6 Masters. And now LFO are looking pretty good on Coastline. They only looked in doubt in the previous round. We'll finally get to see what they're like on these defenses at least. It's pretty spread out. Anglo playing a very tight position here in Sunrise behind this shield. I believe we saw them play in previous matches. It didn't work out to great success because it's not a difficult spot to be able to clear with utility.
Two minutes left in the round. Hills needs to be mindful that he doesn't get droned out here. Todd, I
Bomb
believe, has
located
missed
by
that
attackers.
position, but Warden hits the mark there onto Sogs. It's now a 5-on-4, and Hills will wide swing onto Deptra, leaving it a 4-on-4. Can he find any more picks? That is the question. There's 2 here inside of VIP. One of them's droning. Oh, that's a mistake. He downs him. The player, they're not quite able to refrag it instantly, but Warden eventually will secure the kill.
And he could have been so close to getting that triple. Warden's basically one-shot with that commando from Jaeger. 4-1. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember what it is anymore.
4-1C?
Haven't said it for a long time. Yeah, something like that. Either way.
Close. The carbine.
He
We'll
could
just
have.
call it the carbine. That's easier.
Yeah, that's a good thing to call it. Yeah, look, Warden was one shot basically, so even one errant little flick could have changed that. Is it 3 versus 3 now? Todd and Deptra taken out. Todd playing pretty well so far for Ferox tonight in this series. Finally dumping utility to clear some of these magnets. And Angmo is persisting in that corner.
50 seconds on the board. Angmo holding on for dear life here. He still has some utility to help him cover. He has 2 magnets on the door, but that doesn't matter if he just pushes in, and Shade can now use the shield against him. He doesn't have the diffuser. Sushi really needs to try and replace this position. In the meantime, though, Nasty will actually use that break to retake the bar, and this could be very dangerous here for Ferox. If he finds the picks, he lights up one. Warden, Shade, and Sushi all low on HP. Nasty, though, will be shut down, and Mims is now left in a 1-on-3, but it's a winnable one at that. It's a triple kill for Warden. Oh, Mims goes big and finds the double. It's a 1-on-1. Mims on full HP.
10
Sushi
seconds remaining.
just over 50. He's going to go for the peak. He needs to win the gunfight, but Mims will end out on top, and LFO will take the round.
Got it back, Mims, in that situation on Coastline. I mean, he showed against Kanga, this is his territory. Very comfortable indeed taking that gunfight. And you know what, guys? That means LFO. Ooh, they move to match point.
Yes, they do. Looking to try and draw out the series and give themselves a chance at the playoffs. Again, not 100% sure if they can make it. But they want to try and close this one out as quickly as possible. Give themselves the opportunity. Hookah Billiards will be the second site of choice. Almost thought Sogs would stick the clash, but instead we're going to see Mute Mozzie and Womega.
Ferox sticking strong with their lineup, at least. It did look like a pretty
Defenders,
decent
protect your
round for them.
bombs
It
from
did
being defused by
come down
attackers.
to, of course, a clutch from Mims. Not necessarily a terrible attack from Ferox. It was a great swift take of Sunrise when they pounced. LFO held
Attackers have discovered the location of a
enough, at least. And now Hookah Billiards could be the final site that they play on this map. See what LFO can muster and what Ferox can do to fight back.
Could well be the final map for one of these teams in Six Masters, the final round, in
10
fact.
seconds left before insertion.
Neither team are giving
5
an
seconds
inch.
remaining.
Very strong setup below here from LFO.
Attackers' objective is to
Strategy
defuse
I
the
haven't
bomb.
really seen employed a lot at all, really. That's a lot of utility. Ferox may completely ignore this and head towards site, but that pick from Gills will open up proceedings, and that is the one and only hard breach for Ferox taken out.
Ooh, that's a big start there from Hills, and that helps a lot because you use that Habana to open up the drinks bar wall there in Billiards. And not being able to do so is some pretty critical angles.
Uh-oh,
But it's
here we
going to be a
go.
rush from Ferox straight onto site, guys. They go deep. Warden gets a pick. Finds another 3 versus 3. This is looking pretty good for Ferox.
Mims again left to clutch it up, and I identified it as being a weakness. Invested so much below, it hasn't paid dividends here. At least not yet for LFO. He's forced to go up Cool Vibes, gets lit up in the process. He's going to re-peek it, and Ferox will shut him down. And that is a great response from the attack.
Great calls, great adaptation there from Ferox. Really, really well played. They bring back another round. They've still got 4 to go though, guys, to at least force overtime on Coastline.
I think the concerning thing for me in that round was the fact that LFO seemingly didn't give a lot of consideration to the fact that Ferox were basically free to drone side and would have identified that it was basically free pickings. Maybe there needed to be some more utility in place to help support the players on site. Maybe mask their positions a little bit more and then bait Ferox below. Unfortunately, Ferox just read them like a little bit of a book there, and it was a short novel, that's for sure. The round was basically over before it begun. We find ourselves now 2-6, still in favor of LFO.
Seeing a lion pick coming out from Ferox now though, so trying some little tricks here. Really use it, I guess trying to assist with that initial entry phase because we saw Hill get an opening pick from Office. Lion can assist with that just a touch. The intention there. Shade on the Twitch. Seems to be a hot pick on Coastline.
5 seconds remaining. Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Do not ever, note to self, never eat a lamington ever again while casting. I'm literally dying. Every time the shards of coconut are getting stuck in my throat, it is a terrible experience. Oh,
Someone call that
in fact,
karma.
I don't even know why I'm eating. This game is bringing me enough energy. I don't need the sugar. We are seeing Twitch again. This is unprecedented territory of competitive siege that we are witnessing right now. And he's going to get a default camera. Oh my god. What is this? Oh, in fact, this is a great counter though. Of course, the Evil Eye takes 2 hits if it's hit by the Twitch drone. Shade is trying to time it so it doesn't get taken out. And there we go. That's a good start for Ferox.
It is good use of shock drones. It's actually working out well so far. He might have been able to get the second one. He's just trying to time it so it doesn't get shot in a good position. Hills does get a first
Attackers
pick
drop the
onto
diffuser.
Deptra and goes off, actually gets a triple now. 2 versus 4. This could be the map for LFO.
2-on-4. LFO with the man advantage, the round advantage as well. If they win this one, they'll draw up the series 1 apiece. Warden and Todd left to clutch this one up. Of course, Todd, one of the newest members of this roster, is fitting quite nicely this season, and now's the time to show up big. Warden himself going 12-6. Another great map from him. One of the top fraggers across the entire season, and he needs to find a couple here if he wants his team to be a chance. But no, Sogs will shut him down, and now Todd, with just over a minute to go, is left in a 1-on-4.
Yeah, well, up to Todd. A big ask here. He's got 4 to find. So hasn't into the aquarium. There's so many players looking at position. He can't even find one of them, guys. That is LFO taking map 2, 7-2. Quite a dominant map in the end, and like we said, putting their strongest foot forward, giving themselves a possible chance to make top 4.
It's time to whip out the calculators, that's for sure, as LFO do secure at least 1 map this evening. It was a great performance from them on Coastline and a great way to end off a season that probably went better than a lot expected.
That's the best point you could bring up. I think LFO 100% were written off right at the start of Six Masters, coming through open qualifiers. But they've made some huge statements with beating some big opponents, and they were fighting tooth and nail for a top 4 spot, and I think that is by no means a small feat.
Yeah, and I mean, now we have to sit and wait for confirmation of the top 4. We don't want to preemptively put anyone under the bus or incorrectly call who has made the top 4, because of course that match did have a pretty big impact on who would make those top 4 spots. So while we sit and wait, let's reflect upon what we just saw. I mean, map 1, we had, of course, Clubhouse, and somehow that map was a little bit closer. It didn't necessarily feel too dominant either way. LFO just didn't quite have enough to edge out Ferox.
Yeah, it's definitely, look, it was a tough series, and I think that Clubhouse match, LFO had a good look in. 7-4, I think that indicates how close it was, but Ferox ultimately, they just constantly adapted to what LFO were trying to do, and they managed to get that map win, and yeah, that could have been enough for Ferox. We're still waiting to find out, but yeah, LFO are going to be kicking themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they've got to be pretty happy with, one, how the second map went. 7-2 was a pretty dominant performance. I mean, you flagged Ferox's attacks as being really good, but LFO did a pretty damn good job of shutting them down in the end. On top of that, their season as a whole, I think, just stepping back and looking at that, I mean, the amount of maps that they took off big teams was pretty crazy. Wildcard, for example, their only loss of the entire season, the team that just 7-0'd Akami, was against LFO. So even if they don't make the playoffs, I think they can be pretty positive on, one, how the season went, and two, like their future outlook as well.
Absolutely. I think either of these teams can be happy about the fact that they were fighting for a top 4 spot tonight on the final match of Six Masters. And even if you miss out, of course, that's not going to feel great, but there are a lot of positives you can take from that.
Well, I wonder what coloured suit he's wearing tonight. Of course, it's Enigma from LFO. Oh, it's black. It's clean. Is that a suit?
It's
it
clean.
is a suit.
It
and
is.
It's a
It
Six
is.
Masters
Of
shirt.
course it is. I only wear suits.
It's
Hey,
looking
you're wearing
clean,
the
brother.
t-shirt.
And I'm wearing
You're
the
looking
jersey
very
as well
clean.
too, fellas. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good night. It's a good night.
How you feeling, man?
Honestly, awesome. Like, I am incredibly proud of my team. We've, come out of nowhere. Literally everybody was saying that we were just going to be, the bottom seed. And, we're the only team to take a map off the top 3-seeded teams. And the only team to take off a map off wildcard. So I'm cheering and I'm looking forward to the next season. I'm really happy with how the boys played that last map as well too. Unreal. Awesome.
Yeah, Coastline was a really good map. I want to talk to you a little bit about Clubhouse. It's a map that we've touted often as a strong map for you guys, but you weren't able to get the goods. Maybe just give us some insight onto how that map played out for you guys.
So I think just watching the way we were defending, we weren't really just switching on. Like our communication just wasn't there. And the way it sounded quite lethargic, and also it was a bit too serious. You know, so kind of translating that from there to Coastline, we were having fun on Coastline. We genuinely were just like, you know, listening to the boys, having a laugh, you know, making fun of each other, calling each other out. And on Clubhouse, I feel like we were a bit too serious. And you know, when we took on, Elevate and Wildcard on Clubhouse, I realized we were just having fun. And you know, we were just playing our own game rather than freaking out about it and being so serious upon each other. And I feel like, you know, when we get rid of that sort of mentality, we're going to just be able to perform so much better, like we just did on Clubhouse. Coastline.
Yeah, and look, we'll talk a bit more broad. That's potentially the end of six Masters for you guys. As you said, you've come really far, especially compared to expectations. So what is in the future for you guys? What are you hoping to be moving on to?
I mean, well, obviously to the next big competition which comes up for us. But I mean, you know, we've now had a taste of what competition is, and we know for a fact that we can compete to it. You know, if we, you know, won both maps tonight, we would have made top 4. And that's on our first season of ever performing into this sort of competition where you've got, you know, the biggest teams in ANZ. So if we're able to do that on the, you know, the first season coming out of nowhere, I really hold, you know, ourselves in high expectations for the next season. Really keen.
Well, of course, you guys are LFO. I mean, it's in your name, looking for organization. The floor is yours. What do you want to say to all the org-owners out there looking to pick up a team?
I just want to say, actually, first and foremost, I want to say to everybody who's been following us, you know, thank you for, you know, following us from the very start and supporting us. It's been really important. And I mean, for the orgs as well, too, you know, this is a fresh up and coming team. You know, we've brought our own play style into the scene. And consequently, I mean, it's, you know, it's working for us. And while we've got a couple of things to work out, you know, internally speaking, I think, you know, next season you can be expecting us to really be fighting for that top 4 position, you know, consistently, and actually winning series. That would be nice as well too.
Enigma, appreciate your time throughout the season. We'll talk again soon, man. All the best.
Thanks, boys. See you later.
What a legend. I really like the sentiment of playing positive. It seemed to be something that he himself reckons will work well for the team. If they can try and bring more of a positive mentality into the future, then maybe we can see them step up even higher in the rankings.
Yeah, it's actually a fantastic point, and it's something that's been talked about on and off a lot on a global scale for a long time with Rainbow Six. And I remember the first time it really came up in solid conversation was when Team Liquid won Pro League finals in Brazil. There was a lot of comments about the way they were communicating and playing was all focused around having fun and maybe not taking it too seriously, while of course are taking it seriously. And I think if a team can find that balance, it really is just such a strength, because you can deal with adversity and pressure easier if you're laughing and having some fun.
Well, or a team rather, that had a bit of fun tonight, of course, was Ferox. Yes, the second map didn't quite go their way, but there is a chance that they just got over the line. The first map went well for them. What's the future entailing for Team Ferox?
Again, quite positive. They are basically just a shell of the former Fury that finished 7th in Pro League Season 11. And again, same thing, like here they are coming in. They've had a chance to fight for top 4. That says a lot. And so if they've made it or not, that's been a pretty successful season for them. They've made quite a lot of roster changes. We touched about Todd and Deptra being very new to the roster. Todd, literally, I remember they picked him up maybe a week before Six Masters started. And here they are at this stage. So I think there's a lot of positive signs for them as well as a team.
Yeah, I definitely think they have a lot to build off. Todd, yes, he had a bit of a rough start to the season, but I definitely think he came into his own the last few weeks. Even tonight, he's not massive. He's not going out and getting a 20 bomb every week, but he doesn't need to do that. That's not his role. He's been playing what he needs to do really well. Deptra as well has been stepping up. So I think they're going to be on an upwards trajectory.
Yeah, and totally echo the sentiment about Deptra. I remember specifically in some of the previous weeks recently as well, Deptra has had some really big matches and has impactful plays for Ferox. So yeah, some great additions for them.
Well, on the topic of Ferox, we do have Warden ready and waiting for an interview. Warden, how's things, man? How's things?
Good?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, yeah, over there. All right. Warden, how's things, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
I'm great. Good. How was tonight? How are you feeling after coming out of tonight? Because it was, look, map 1, went your way. Map 2, not so much.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It happens. You can't win them all. Like, hopefully we still made it, but if we didn't, we didn't. We learned a lot this season. Like, we can't really complain with our results. We did do at least pretty decent, especially compared to what we did in Pro League the season before. But yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking leading into you coming on about the roster changes you guys have had. Maybe talk us through about how the season has played out, bringing in Todd and Deptra and how that's kind of changed from your former Fury into who you are now.
Yeah, they've both been extremely good pickups, to be honest. Like, we've got Deptra, who's just almost like a straight frag, and we've got Todd, who brings a lot of experience, combined with me and Shade as well. We've got so much experience that we can just sort of bring on to Deptra and Sushi and sort of not train them, but sort of mold them to like what will suit us.
Yeah, and look, Coastline didn't quite go your way.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular on Coastline that was the factor that really just didn't let you come back?
Honestly, early picks is probably the biggest thing. It's just losing the gunfights as well. Like, if we played half as good as we did in Clubhouse, probably could have got Coastline, but it's just, I don't know what happened. Just couldn't really sort of get momentum going.
Well, it's been a long season. The Ferox fans have been standing by your side for the entirety of it. What would you like to say to all the fans out there tonight?
Thanks for sticking by. Sorry we didn't win the last game, and hopefully we can only go up from here.
Awesome. Well, Warden, we hope to talk soon. All the best, man.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye. I'm so glad that interview didn't cut out.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. Look,
Yeah,
I think a big thing about them is just, again, their roster changes and how it's worked out. So it's great stuff. It's good to hear the things that Warden said, that insight as well. And the point he made about Todd and Todd's experience, Todd has been around for as long as competitive Siege has been around in Australia. So that definitely can't be discounted at all, what kind of experience that can bring.
Well, it's time to have a look back at all of tonight's results. We started things off with Okami taking on Wildcard. Wildcard basically just destroyed them, simply put.
They did. It was a dominant performance from Wildcard. Nothing short of it. Can't really say too much else about that. And the Ferox LFO series was really the tooth and nail fight that we were expecting, particularly on Clubhouse.
Well, you've all been waiting for it. It's time to have a look at how the standings will finish up here in Six Masters 2020. And this is your top four. Wildcard, Sinister, Okami, and the Knights have somehow made it in? Question mark? Okay, I mean, we'll go off them. But yeah, that's very spicy.
Yeah,
Okay.
we would have to confirm exactly the situation, but here it is, the final standings. And look, it has been such a good season of Six Masters. I cannot state that many more times. It has just been phenomenal. We've had so many close matches. And to come down to this final week, I mean, think about when we were talking on Tuesday, there were still 7 teams in the race for this top 4. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to watch and cast.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, one of, if not the most competitive seasons of competitive Siege we've ever had here in ANZ. And I guess now is a great opportunity to talk about those playoffs. We haven't talked about the format a whole lot tonight, so now is a great time, really, to bring that up. It's going to be on July 3rd to 5th, so it's a 3-day competition. It's a best of 3 double elim bracket leading into a best of 5. Yes, you heard that right. Best of 5 grand final. I cannot wait. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how that one plays out.
Really is. It's going to be a really exciting playoffs. There's big opportunities for these teams to make a statement. Big cash on the line. We haven't talked about the cash prize for a while. 50,000 Australian dollars is by no means a laughing matter. So it's going to be really exciting, just like the whole season has been.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's been so enjoyable to watch. We've seen teams rise from the lowest of lows. Like, let's talk about Sinister, for example. Season 11 Pro League, which was not that long ago, they were getting smashed. The second half of that season, they go flawless. Into Six Masters, they also go really, really strong as well. They'll be in the playoffs, and boy, I don't know who to pick to win it. I mean, Wildcard have been really strong, but the format being the way that it is, it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what the bracket is. Once we see the bracket, we start thinking about predictions. But it's going to be super exciting. And I mean, speaking of wildcard, tune in Late Night Siege this Friday night, 8 p.m. We have Diesel on, and he's going to be talking about Maverick and Villa, and of course wildcard things in general. Six Masters. So that's 8 p.m. Australian time, Sydney time, and yeah, you won't want to miss it.
Well, that wraps up Six Masters 2020, or it wraps up the season at least. We'll see you guys on July 3rd to 5th for the playoffs. Don't miss it. Until then, stay safe and good night.
Time's not kind and it won't let go. No thoughts left in my head. My mind's on mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from my darkness black. It's the soul in me and the heart I am.